Welcome back to the GSL Code 8. It's time for ByuL up against Keen, our first and last Zerg versus Terran of the afternoon session.
Yep. ByuL recently joining LGIM.
Yes.
Good to say it again. And, well, Keen, on the other hand, still on Team MVP.
That's very true. One of their top players, and he fell out of Code S.
Yeah, and he actually lost against GOMTV in the GSL finals.
Reaper versus Reaper, very funny game. Check it out, actually, if you haven't seen that VOD.
Yep, definitely make sure to check that one out. Jumping into game number 1.
Yep.
That's not the map, and that's actually none of our players. That was a pretty random shot. I'm not... Okay, I really hope that that shot was part of the VOD, because everyone will be like, what are they talking about? Well, let's introduce the guys that are actually playing first. At the top of the map, we have in red our Zerg player for Team LGIM. Joined them recently, a former Fnatic player. It is ByuL.
Oh, he looks like he's going for a temple. You could go for the drone cancel.
Here we have him. Bottom of the map starts the commander. For Team MVP, it is Keen.
He's got the Overlord coming on 10, and ByuL is, and he's going to do the extractor trick now to get the extra drone out.
And guys, it's so funny. Sometimes the production crew is testing us. You know, they are like, well, are Wolf and Calder on top of their game today? Are they really paying attention to what's happening here? You know what we do now? We show them a random shot of a player that is actually not playing and not in the game. Let's see how they handle the situation. Today is one of these days, and I feel we passed.
I feel we passed it really well.
I think we passed, yeah. So,
that was
shout-outs to the production team. Good job, but not today, guys. We got you.
Was that SOS? I didn't even really see who that was. It was so fast. I know it wasn't either Keen or ByuL, though.
My T back. Just follow my T.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's bad. Oh.
Now you need chopsticks to get it out, but you don't have any.
No, I think that's fine. I'm just going to burn my fingers. That's going to be okay.
Don't do that. So I don't recommend it.
Well, it's cold here, you know.
I guess you can then have cold fingers later that are burned as well.
Not funny.
The other thing is, once you take your fingers out of that hot water, when the heat goes away from your fingers, it's going to actually be cold because your fingers are going to be wet. You didn't think that far ahead, did you? You need to start thinking ahead about sticking your fingers in the hot tea.
Leave that to me. I'm going to work that out.
Alright, I'll let you work it out. Keen's going 1-Rax expand.
Keen with the 1-Rax expand. No surprises here on the other hand for ByuL. We have the expansion first, then the pool. And on a map like this, I mean, what would you expect? I mean, I actually saw like really interesting strategies lately. That one thinking that we had, the Nidus network, for example, that was against Protoss, but that was also like a pretty cool thing. So sometimes these days, some Zerg players are just like, you know what? I don't want to play the stand-up game against you here. I want to be a little bit more sneaky. We had for a long time actually against Terran these attacks with a Nidus network right away from the start. Really, really interesting openings. These are just some of the surprise attacks that a Terran player might not be prepared for. But of course, the standard game on this map, guys, we explained this like 1,000 times, and all of you know it. Only if one of you that is watching right now is a little bit newer to StarCraft and GSL, it might not know. But Antigua Shipyard in this matchup is about the middle of the map. Terran player has a position that he can easily take, where he can dominate the flow of the game. And of course, the fourth base for Zerg is very, very difficult to hold. The forces are thinned out, and a good Terran player with a good drop play can really put the pressure on you, which is why some Zerg players like to stay on 3 bases, build a bit of a spine crawler wall and spore crawlers in their main base and at the 3rd place, which are the most exposed positions, and then just try to hit you with a 3-base timing attack. Linux is the prime example. He really loves to go for this Broodlord composition on 3 bases.
Some TSL Zergs like Hyun and Symbol have shown this as well on this map. You know, we've explained this so many times, and there's a reason for that. It's because we see this map so often. And this begs the question now, since basically what you just described is going to unfold. Keen is going to do a very different build. Actually, before I get into what I want to talk about, let's talk about the fact that Keen is powering up a lot of Marines. It means that he's going to actually probably hit with a timing attack with Heavy Marine and Hellion at ByuL's 3rd base to see if he can defend it. Usually Queens really help you defend this, as well as Zerglings. Without speed, it's going to be a struggle. But do you think the map pool right now is stale? In general, for almost all StarCraft 2 tournaments, include any major StarCraft 2 tournament, and do you think the map pool is stale?
To be completely honest with you, I think that a few of the maps that we see these days are getting a little bit old. For example, I'm starting to get a little bit... I mean, usually I love the matchup, even though most people complain about it, Pros versus Zerg. But when I see Daybreak as the opening map for PvZ, I feel like I could cast the first 20 minutes of the games blindfolded. Yeah, it's just like a couple of maps in there that are really, really good, and Daybreak is being one of them, so it's very hard to replace it. So I feel unless, up to the point where we really, you know, we rotate in the GSL always a little bit. You have always a few maps that fall off and then come in again. Ohana, for example, is not in the new map pool for the next season, but there are other maps that have been introduced. Grand Lagoon is not that old. So up to the point where we find a couple of maps that are really completely balanced, that players like to play, that establish themselves as good maps, it's very hard to replace one of the old ones. But if we do have that, if we actually find a map where we see, okay, this map is good, players like it, it produces good games, then I feel one of the maps that should have to go is, for example, an Antigua Shipyard, is Daybreak. Yeah. Something like those maps to get a little bit more rotation in there. I feel in general, we have the rotation, but it's just so hard to find good maps that are stable enough to play them for a couple of seasons.
That's why I'd like to see some old maps that used to be used in the GSL come back, because it's not like there have been significant patches since we saw Xel'Naga Fortress that makes it so that Xel'Naga Fortress is no longer a map that can be used in our pool. I mean, it wasn't the best map that we've ever had. It wasn't as good as Daybreak, but
look at this timing.
This is a really cool timing for
not to cut you off, but Keen is using this push that I hate with a passion. Marines and Hellions, it's a very weak push if your opponent has a decent creep spread and only one Baneling. Yeah. But ByuL is a little bit late on his Baneling nest.
He's got a lot of queens though.
Yeah, he has a lot of queens, but that's the time when the push can actually do some damage. And those Zerglings are already gone, even before the fight started. The Baneling nest is finally done. Will he get enough Banelings though? The queens are doing their best, but they don't have enough energy. And even with the Spine Crawlers, Keen is doing a lot here. I think this might be the first time that I see this work in the GSL.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. It's so rare you see this actually occur in a pro match where it works. He's not using all of his units even.
Keen is actually one of the few players that will do this push over and over again.
Yeah, no matter how many times it fails.
He's usually known for his Hellion play, but his Hellions are part of the composition and he will be able to take this third down. Oh, really?
I think so. It's getting to be pretty intense here. No, actually, I don't think he's going to get it.
No, he won't get the third, but he did a fair amount of damage.
Yeah, he traded really well with the Lings, but at the end of the day, he's going to lose everything.
Yep.
Tries to target, no, doesn't even try. He tries to trade from the Lings the best he can. I think if he had kept all of his army together a little bit better, he could have easily gotten that third, but he kind of messed up a little bit.
He was able to trade quite well though, and that's not the case when your opponent already has Banelings. This push is just really designed to take an opponent unaware, to make him sacrifice a lot of lava for Zerglings. But yeah, usually if the Baneling nest is well timed, then a few Banelings can just crush the entire force, especially when you have your creep spread well. So yeah, that's definitely a bit of, I don't know, I just don't like that push.
It's definitely just not, ever since the Queen patch, I feel like it's just not really that viable. The Banelings are the key, and the Queens really help out, even if you don't have the Banelings in time, like we saw there, the Queens really help out. But yeah, he actually took a Harvester lead at 56 to 54 just a few seconds ago after the push. Keen, that is, because some of these Zerglings were used. So much larva was used on Lings rather than drones, and the base is still relatively weak. It could be killed by a drop later on before it's fully health, but I highly doubt that's going to happen, especially with the Spire coming out here.
Keen is getting this third base though. Oh, racing with the Overlord, who's going to get faster. Will the Overlord be able to spread creep?
He actually turns around for this reason even. I think he could already start spreading it.
No.
I think he could have spread earlier.
That's what happens to losers.
Yep, they die.
Without accomplishing anything.
The Command Center wouldn't have died if he spread the creep, but...
No, but still.
He would have been feeling like he was dying inside.
He would have had his 5 moments of fame.
Yes.
Yeah,
the Overlord, that is.
Well, the thing is now that Keen still has a lead in supply. He has a third base, which is pretty cool for him. The Zergling run by at the bottom right is doing a bit of damage though, but there are a few units defending it. Unfortunately, we don't have that on camera.
Good scan here. The medevacs need to pick up. He does another stem, but the mutas are here. This is going to be great for ByuL.
ByuL
both medevacs.
ByuL is a really strong player. When he was still in Team Fnatic and there was the last Fnatic Great Call Invitational, he actually won the entire thing. And there was a really stacked tournament. So he's a very, very strong player. But in the GSL, in the individual league, we have not really seen that much from him just yet. So he really has to prove himself here. And of course, up against Keen, a strong opponent.
Yes. Macro Hatch goes up for ByuL now. He's going for that Ling heavy style, and he's going to need a Macro Hatch for the Larva to do that. His 2-2 is actually finishing up way before Keen's. Keen is just now starting +2 for his attack, but his +1 armor isn't even done yet.
But still, a Keen, you know, if you have more supply as the Terran player, usually something went wrong with the Zerg. And he had to build so many Zerglings earlier, sacrifice the lava, wasn't able to get this Ling, this economy lead that he wanted to have. And now it's going to be very difficult for ByuL to make this strong mid-game for a Zerg player really happen. He has to be realistic, and of course he has to pay attention, but wow, these run-bys, this is exactly what he's known for.
Yeah,
Hellion play.
Not good for ByuL. So many drones go down. The King goes down as well. The hatchery continues to be damaged. 9 drones killed in total.
Yeah.
But all the Hellions were killed, and ByuL actually took a supply lead momentarily there. He's going for this big attack with 37 Banelings, all the Mutas. He's going to go hit the third base. Siege mode is done, however, so this is going to be pretty tough to make work. If he can pick up these siege tanks, it's definitely going to help.
The perfect timing. The missile turret is not done just yet. And the Mutalisks are just trying to open the path for those Banelings. And as long as there are not enough siege tanks, this is what's going to happen. 2 more siege tanks are being built simultaneously, and if he has those, then yes, maybe he's able to get it. There comes the scan, and he sees those. Yeah, he sees the Banelings, so he should know what's coming.
Remember, he's got 2-2 with this. Keen's +2-2 is not done. His +2 attack is very close, but it's not quite ready yet. +1 from Muta's, almost ready too.
And here comes ByuL moving in. Will the tanks fire down those Banelings? There come the hits. Not yet, indeed. Nice splits by Keen, though.
Yeah, really good splits. He's got the Marines over at the third base defending, and great targeting there. ByuL trying to walk up that ramp. It didn't really work out too well for him, but the 2-2 upgrades still stand.
The 2-2 upgrades stand, but the problem is there is just no ground anymore. A few Zerglings, that's all. And Keen has defended for now. But ByuL is a bit in the supply lead, has a bank that he can use. The problem for ByuL is really going to be that a second wave might also not be successful with the tanks that we have on the production tab for the Terran player. And also, his own upgrades are about to finish. +2 has been done. He starts +3 attack, and +2 armor is half on the way.
Yeah, when he finishes this attack, if it doesn't work, the game may just spiral out of control, but we'll see if Keen can hold. There's enough Mutas to pick off that tank on the high ground. He goes for it. There's so many Banelings left here. He rolls them in.
And ByuL already transitions into Hive and also Pathogen Clans. He's not stuck with the idea of having to deal with this on tier 2, doing a little bit of damage here, forcing Keen to be more and more passive in this game. I
his
really
micro
like it.
Is insane with his Mutas, doing so much damage. He's now killed in total 29 Harvesters, putting the worker count at 62 to 52. Now he's going to drone up back at home to catch up, make sure he can actually even widen that.
ByuL knows exactly when to hit timings and when to just fall back into macro game. He takes a 4th base. No, this is aggression while focusing at the same time just enough on your own economy and your tech to be able to transition into a late game after this. And this is exactly what he needs to do here. So a very interesting game by ByuL, and just shows why he was the best player in the Fnatic lineup.
Yeah. There's a hatchery, by the way, at the top right that's going up, and Keen does not have, because he's been so on the defensive, he's lost so many siege tanks, he doesn't really have the manpower to go over there and take it down. He doesn't even want to drop either because there's so many Mutas still around on the map. He's got 10 left, so if he tries to drop, he's going to get shut down. The scan reveals, he's like, well, can I even take that watchtower? He's like, not really. I want to take the 4th there, though, so maybe I'm going to try to push my way up, but it's not going to be easy.
The one thing that we haven't seen out of Keen is drop play, which is so strong on this map. He really plays this very straightforward now. Through the middle.
He wants to take control, and ByuL, with mostly melee units on the ground, can't really stop him anymore.
He didn't start the Great Aspire just yet. 15 creep tumors produced.
Yeah, it's a lot. Spreading his creep really far. He wants to deny this command server, but he can't quite get it.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit too much to ask for. But here comes the Great Aspire. Infestors are in the game, and more are on their way. 6. We have +3 attack nearly done for Keen. Those Marines are going to be very strong here.
Yeah, he's picking off a few of them, though, at the front. Does trade decently against those, and scan here from Keen is awesome. This is exactly what he needs. ByuL knows that he has to just let these tumors go, because if he tries to attack with his Meteors and Banelings, he's going to get shut down hard by Keen's army.
The Planetary will definitely help Keen a lot to establish this position, but the Zerglings that run into the third, they are bound to do damage. More Harvesters are going to die here.
Or he's actually going to take out several of these Marines, and the Baneling hits here are not very cost efficient at all.
No, you don't want to trade a Baneling for a Marine. That's just never worth it. Not 1 for 1.
That's exactly why Keen dropped those Marines out like that. It wasn't because he didn't particularly like them.
Might have been one of the reasons.
Maybe one. But then it would be a 2 birds with 1 stone situation.
Yep.
The medevacs have to be very careful here against the Mutas. They can't get too far forward, but he's using them for vision. Here come the Infestors for a flank. That fungal not very strong, and he loses an Infestor.
+3 attack is done for Keen. +3 armor nearly completed. ByuL with the Greater Spire has a few Corruptors, not using them to transform into Broodlords just yet. The 4th base is still alive for ByuL, but now also for Keen, and here comes the Zerg player again, moving in.
But he's got mostly melee units. He can't really go up that ramp, even with creep spread up there. It's really tough. He's got to come from multiple angles if he's going to do that. Units to the backside are cut off. A good bundle helps out, though.
Fungal and Banelings, exactly what he needs here. But still the Terran player determined to take down this base. The same is true for ByuL, who moves in right now, tries to connect with the Banelings. The Zerglings take down the Planetary.
Yeah, but this is not a good trade army-wise, and
No.
Keen may be able to kill this base and go for the final push. Their Broodlords are going to be the only thing stopping him. He's going to have 4 in total, but I don't know if he has enough on the ground to actually keep the units back to let the Broodlings do damage. He's got 4 Infestors. Will he have enough fungals to actually slow Keen's army down? I'm not so sure, Caldor. At this point, the army supply is 129 to 80.
That's quite a lot, and here we come again. The Infestors have to be careful.
All gone.
And with the Infestors gone, there's not a lot to shield the Broodlords.
Exactly, he can just walk up here and end it.
GG. ByuL realizes the same thing. He knows that he is way too far behind in the game. Keen takes a lead in the best of 3, chills out in his chair, and is just waiting for game 2 to start at the GSL Code A.
By the way, I think it was Vampire was on camera earlier. I think I figured it out.
Yep. Was Vampire. So for LGIM today, we have Yonghwa already with the 2-1 victory and
ByuL,
advancing, but ByuL, yeah.
He's the next player to be tested. You know, there's so many LGIM players in Code A right now. We saw so many yesterday, and
3.
some of them Code S champions.
Advancing to the 3rd round.
And we'll see if ByuL can do it, man. That puts so many LGIM players into the up and down groups for sure. And even if not, they might go straight into Code S. We'll see if Keen can take game number 2, though. The map is Daybreak. He may be able to just 2-0 this new LGIM player in his first debut.
Keen is a veteran. He's been around for a long, long time. He could S several times. And well, on Daybreak, we are going into the 2nd game. And let's see if ByuL ties the series up or if Keen is able to take a 2-0 victory over the LGIM player and advances to the 3rd round of Code A, whereas ByuL has to fight through the Code... No, actually the up and downs. Not the Code A qualifier, we're already in the 2nd round here.
Yes. Indeed we are. The map is loaded. Daybreak game number 2, and our Zerg player to the bottom.